Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to North East Water's community webinar series. In today's webinar, we're going to be exploring our customer report card. That is how we are tracking on the commitments we've made to our customers. My name is Jo Murdoch and I'm the Managing Director of North East Water, and I'm delighted to have you with us here today. We also have online with us our General Manager of Environment, Systems and Operations, John Day, who's just waving. Thanks, John. And Troy Gurr, who's our Corporate Projects Officer, and he has his camera switched off. But before we start, I would like to say that North East Water respectfully acknowledges the traditional owners of the lands and waters on which we operate and are meeting today. We pay our respects to elders, past and present, and we do extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people with us today, or who in fact will be watching this recording at a future date. So now, before we get started, I'd also like to go over a few housekeeping items so that we have a smooth session. Please note that all audience members have their cameras and microphones switched off for this webinar. We will be recording this webinar. It'll be available on our website after the session. So we'll send you a link, and for those who are with us today, please share it. And we do encourage you to ask questions. You can submit your questions at any time using the Q&A function up the top, not the chat function, the Q&A function, and we'll try and address those questions in this meeting. Now, before we dive into our topic of customer outcomes, just a little bit about North East Water. Now, essentially, we plan for and provide essential water and wastewater service, water and sewage services to 39 towns across a 20,000 square kilometre region. We serve over 120,000 people, ensuring that they have access to clean and safe drinking water. Now, most of our customers are residential property owners or tenants. That's about 90%, while the rest are businesses or industry. We operate 21 water treatment plants, 22 wastewater treatment plants. We've got crisscrossing right across the region, 1,300 kilometres of sewer mains, 1,800 kilometres of water mains. In fact, we've got $1.6 billion worth of assets, and we are committed to investing in and maintaining that infrastructure to meet current and future communities. We also have one of the lowest water bills in Victoria and across the nation. Our average residential water bill for 24-25 was around about $1,064 a year. Some other quick facts that you might not know: we are 100% compliant with safe drinking water regulations. We are committed to 100% renewable energy by 2025 and net zero emissions by 2035. We are also committed to running our business efficiently and effectively so that our customers, you who fund North East Water, receive value for their water bills. And that's something that's always top of mind for me as MD and all of our organisation. We also survey 2,000 customers a year, and from this we know that customer satisfaction is around 94%. I just want to thank all our customers who have contributed to our surveys throughout the year. And finally, we are proud to employ 208 local employees, and they provide exceptional services and support across our region. In fact, they're highly skilled and experienced professionals across a wide range of roles, whether it's water quality analysts, wastewater specialists, data analysts, operators in the field, customer service and customer support agents, digital and cyber security experts. It's a really great field to work in. If you've ever wanted to work in the water sector, you should check it out. Now, in early 2024, North East Water launched its new corporate strategy following 12 months of engagement with our customers and key stakeholders. Strategy 2040 sets out our vision for the future. And that's a vision where North East Water is proactively contributing to a healthy environment, to thriving communities and prosperous region. And healthy environment is first, because without a healthy environment, we will not have thriving communities or a prosperous region. Our Strategy 2040 makes very clear that our purpose is to deliver safe, sustainable water and wastewater solutions for our communities. That is our core business. It's what we do each and every day in a really complex and changing world around us. And Strategy 2040 is our roadmap to achieving this vision and purpose. And it responds directly to the challenges of climate change and climate volatility, population growth, rapid tech advancement, and changing customer and community needs and expectations. Now, put simply, our approach through Strategy 2040 revolves around embracing a future where water is secure, where waste is transformed into valuable resources, where customers and employees are highly valued, and our services are safe, fair, accessible, and affordable. And this next slide actually just gives you a bit of an overview of our strategy 2040 on a page. And the reason I wanted to show you this is because it puts front and center our customer outcomes. And our customer outcomes are supporting us to deliver our vision and our purpose. So there are 6 customer outcomes: affordable, reliable, local, responsive, efficient, and sustainable. And they were originally introduced as part of, actually way back when, 2013, when we set our prices. We put our price submission in 2013 to our regulator, the Essential Services Commission. We then retested and validated those same 6 outcomes as part of our 2018 price submission. And they've now been used as a foundation to support our Strategy 2040 right now. Now, we're currently undertaking engagement for our 2026 price submission, and this will verify which of these outcomes are still current with our customers, or if there are any other outcomes that they'd like us to have going forward. Now, today's webinar, however, just focuses on the existing customer outcomes, these 6 that you see in front of you. I'm just going to run through these 6 for you with this next slide. The first is sustainable. And you can see we've put these into what we call our customer outcomes wheel. So sustainable looks at smaller footprint, environmental leadership, and reducing the impacts on the environment. It also looks at how we can work with community support to support green public open spaces. The second outcome is affordable. It's around affordability and value for money and supporting customers who experience financial stress. The third outcome is clean and safe drinking water. So third outcome is reliable, and that relates to clean and safe drinking water, water that looks, tastes, and smells great. It also relates to resilient systems, so that, in other words, our systems cope with disruption and severe weather events. The fourth outcome is responsive, and that's around our services being responsive to match customer expectations. So in other words, timely responses. It also relates to inclusive decisions, that our communities are involved in the decisions that involve them. Now, the fifth outcome is about local. Services are delivered by local people who know the region. It's also about education and awareness, because that's very important. Our communities want to know about water scarcity in this changing climate. And the final customer outcome is around efficient. That's all about being continuously improving. That's improving our systems, our technologies, and our processes. It's also about being responsible asset stewards, so that we can look after our assets for future generations. So that's a bit of a snapshot of our customer outcomes. Now let's get into some of the results for our latest results for 24-25. And I'm going to talk to some of these, and I'm going to invite John Day to talk to some of these as well. But the first one is around affordable prices. Now, the first outcome or target was around fair prices, and that was that residential customers would pay their bill within the required 30 days. And we set a target with our customers when we set these customer outcomes of 80%. And I'm pleased to say that the result is 81%. You might ask, why is this important, this target? It's really important that we do everything we can to help and encourage customers to pay their bills on time within the first 30 days. Otherwise, it takes a lot of effort to be sending reminder notices out. It's also an impact on the customer to have to receive those reminder notices. And if we can encourage more people to pay on time, that helps keep prices lower, because it's less effort to have to actually follow up on bills that aren't paid. The second outcome is around customer support, and that's around, flip back if we can. It's around customer support, the number of residential customers being restricted. So we set a target, an annual target of 191. So these are customers that have not paid their bill, and that these are not customers that are in financial difficulty. These are people that just have not paid their bill. And we have made a target that we would only restrict 191 customers a year. But in fact, we have restricted none this year because we've, since COVID, since March 2020, we actually ceased our restrictions at that time, and we have not brought those back in just yet, although we will be looking to planning to do that in future years. But customers can be assured that the maximum number of customers that will be restricted in the future if they don't pay their bills will be 191. I'm going to ask John to talk about safe drinking water.
Yeah, thanks, Joe. Certainly one of the pillars for delivering our service is the provision of safe drinking water under the Victorian Drinking Water Quality Regs and the Australian Drinking Water standards. We were 100% compliant, or a zero failure rate, if you like. And that's testing out in the field. It's around 10,000 tests and samples that we collect each year from our water treatment plants and from in our reticulation system, which form part of that safe drinking water compliance check, if you like. So, yeah, fully compliant with that and have been for several years. If we move to resilient systems, so this is a measurement of how many breaks in our water systems that we have. So if you have a look at our water pipes, we've got a total of, and I'm looking off something, I can't remember this off the top of my head, but 1,641 kilometres of water pipe. So this is a measure of how many breaks we have per 100 kilometres. We have a target of being under 7, and our result currently is 4, which places us in around the top 3 of the water corporations in Victoria as performance. So very proud of that result. And that's a great photo there of the Yarrawonga team, who do an amazing job, like all of our teams, to repair and respond to those events. Next slide. So that also is around timely response. So not only do we aim to have a low breakage rate, if you like, or failure rate of our pipes, we also have strong operational teams in the field to respond, and in a 24/7, 365 days of the year. And we're staying under that 100 minutes in timely duration to repair those results. So unplanned water supply interruptions, we're at 99 minutes and should stay underneath that 100 minutes target. Joe, over to you for inclusive decisions.
Yeah, thanks, John. And the next target or measure is around inclusive decisions. So customers are satisfied with North East Water in engagement and community inclusion. And the target there is 90%. And we've almost reached the 90%. It's 86.1. But there's a power of work that's going into engaging and involving our community in the work that we're doing. So we've actually engaged. We've been engaging for over 12 to 18 months around ours, or 24 months on our Strategy 2040 and our price submission. We've launched a new Have Your Say website in the last 18 months that's had thousands of visits to it. And we're doing a lot of work in places such as Mount Beauty, Wodonga, right across our region, in fact, in terms of where our major capital infrastructure improvements are being undertaken. So we're going to keep working on that result and hopefully make it up to the target for our next report. Back to you, John.
Yeah, so equally the same with our sewer mains as we are with our water mains, which is our core business delivery of taking wastewater from your toilets and taps to our treatment facilities. There's a measure of being under a target under 6 breaks per 100 kilometres, and again 1,300 kilometres of pipe. So if you added the water and wastewater pipes together and laid them in a length, you could drive all the way to Queensland and back again. So there's quite a lot of pipe work out there. We're sitting at 5.2, and we will and should achieve that under the target of 6. So that's travelling quite well at the moment, although we have had some incidents with this dry weather of root intrusion and the ground moving, but we've still been able to maintain under that target. The one that's at risk at the moment and we'll go over is our non-revenue water. And going into a drying season, as it has been, this is where we really have a heavy focus on making sure that all resources are not wasted. Currently at 15.3 is over the target of 10, still holds us around 36 out of 90 water corporations nationally. So, we're still performing well, but we aren't at that 10% that we would like to get to, which is best practice. Nationally, the result is around 18. So we're well under that, but we would like to be around 10% because that is best practice. And it's really around maintaining and looking after our resources, which, in a drying climate, water shouldn't be wasted. Next slide. Over to you, Joe.
Yes, thanks, John. And the really great result for our local people customer outcomes. So the measure is customers are satisfied with North East Water's staff local knowledge, and the result was 85 against a target of 80. And I mentioned earlier before that we have 208 employees here at North East Water, and all of them are local and all of them are building, have a great knowledge of the region. And I think that's really, really important. What's also important is we've got a fantastic customer support, customer experience and customer support team. And they've got some really great knowledge about not only North East Water, but our region. And then out in the field, we've got our operators who are working with our customers out in the communities, and they've got some terrific local knowledge as well. So that's shown through in this result. The next one is education and awareness, and that's around customers being satisfied that we are educating them about water conservation, and we're almost at the 90%. I'm pretty confident that we can get to the 90% by the end of this current price period, and that is really around how well we are communicating messages around around water conservation and preservation. We have our WaterWise campaign, which continues to educate communities about water conservation practices, as well as targeted messages that we put out on social media and in our quarterly customer newsletter Splash. We also continue to provide the majority of schools in the region with access to up-to-date water consumption information through the school's water efficiency program. That's called the SWEP program. And this program enables the detection and rectification of leaks that have been identified through monitoring of each school's water use. So there's a whole lot of things that we are doing. So keep a lookout for our messaging and our education on social media and in our newsletters. And our next one, back to you, John.
Yep,
about a
over to me.
footprint.
Yep, yeah. Thanks, Joe. Tag team. We should do that when we swap over now. Look, the EPA or a smaller footprint compliance is similar to the drinking water quality one. We've got a target of 100%. Currently, we're tracking at 96. This has been driven mainly by several of our lagoon-based systems that in winter, maintaining or removing nitrogen is harder to do because of the colder climates. Pleasingly, you will see coming forward in our capital programs an upgrade at the Beechworth plant and also at the Bright plant, where we'll be changing the way that we treat that wastewater to remove nitrogen better. What we also do is understand through ecological risk assessments, so sampling in the river streams in which we discharge into, that it is having low to minimal impact of that nitrogen. So while it is exceeding our licence currently for that nitrogen, it is having no impact to the environment, or low impact to the environment. And that is something that we currently are addressing with those capital program improvements. Smaller footprint, so the total carbon emissions, we are right on target. We're under by about 300 tonnes, but that has been driven mainly by the photo you see there with our 3 megawatt solar plant at West Wodonga, which is supplying energy to 20 of our large sites, water treatment and wastewater treatment sites, with renewable energy, and has been a great result for the corporation in meeting that Scope 2 and 1 emissions targets. over to you, Jo.
Yeah, thanks, John. And the final outcome and measure that we're going to talk about is enhanced livability. So customers are satisfied North East Water is ensuring water security. And North East Water is doing a lot of work in terms of responding to our urban water strategy. So our urban water strategy is our primary strategy to look at how we're managing water security across the region. I'm pleased to say that at the end of 23-24, North East Water's managed water storages were above 90% capacity for most of the year before ending around the end of the year at around about 86%. Now, throughout the year, we made progress in securing more resilient water supplies for the Harrietville and Wangaratta systems by investigating and constructing groundwater options to supplement existing surface water sources, and we provided new clear water storages for Oxley and Moyu. Now, North East Water continues to collaborate with our bulk water suppliers, Goulburn Murray Water, local communities and water resource regulators to find solutions that improve supply security, the security of supply for each of our systems. So I'm really pleased with this result. The result is 92.1 against a target of 90. Also, I think we really want to share with you as well that on a regular basis, the Essential Services Commission, which again is our regulator, does some customer perception surveys. And they look at things such as value for money, reputation, customer satisfaction, and trust. And I'm just going to share with you those 4 metrics and show you how North East Water is faring for each of them. So for value for money, North East Water is doing pretty well. This actually is a graph that shows all the water corps in Victoria, or benchmarks all the water corps in Victoria, and you can see that North East Water is sitting around about 4th for value for money. And the ESC actually independently surveys around about 100 customers quarterly. So that's for value for money, and we might flick through. And for reputation, we're also sitting around 4th for reputation in the community, which is, I think, is a really great result. We're sitting 4th again for trust. So if you think about this survey is all the water corps, both metropolitan and regional across Victoria. And finally, overall satisfaction is 5th in the ranking at this time. This was the November 2024 survey, so it was the most recent survey. So I'm pretty pleased with those results, and everyone at North East Water is continually focused on how we can continue to improve our customers' perception of satisfaction, and how we're delivering our services. Helping to improve that value for money for customers, building the reputation of North East Water in our community, and all of that ultimately helps to build trust with our customers in our community. And that is one of the most important things that we can do, is build trust. So if you're interested in finding out more about our customer outcomes and our customer report card, we do publish these results every 6 months on our website. There is usually for a period of time on our website, it's linked to the front page, and then then obviously other things come onto the front page, but you can access that. There's a page on our website dedicated to our performance story. You can also provide feedback or have your say at any time for North East Water. And I'm just going to get Luke, who's in the background, to click onto this page so we can have a look if you can, Luke, if it works. And it does, that's magic. This is our website, and you can see Luke sort of hovering around up here. It's the little have your say button up here, and that takes you to a fantastic page that has all sorts of ways that you can contribute your feedback on the major projects that we're involved in, obviously our price submission, our big capital infrastructure upgrades, and other things that are happening at North East Water. And you can actually contribute to those by providing your feedback or just learning more about each of those projects. You can also, if you want to actually provide feedback that's not related to a project, for example, just maybe it's related to your service or about a customer outcome you've heard about today. At the bottom of that page, you can actually see you've got the contact us details. So there's an email address or a phone number. You can write to us. You can send us a letter if you like, because we also welcome that. But we certainly welcome your feedback. We welcome your involvement in projects, but also your feedback about our services going forward. So that brings us to the end of our presentation. I'm just going to check about a couple of the questions that we might have. So we have a question here. John, what prompts so many sewer and water main breaks? Is it the age of some of these systems?
Yeah, I take offence to the so many, Joe, given that, we sit top 3 in the state for the least amount of sewer blocks and water breaks. But yes, it is very climatic or impacted by the climate. The reason for that is when we get drying weather, the ground moves, we've got very clay soils, we get breaks in pipes, and obviously in the wet weather conditions we've just had of 3 of the highest rainfall events from the last 3 years, or average rainfall events, we've had a lot of inundation to our systems from illegal connections, from simple groundwater rise and alike that's got into our systems that puts them under pressure and then causes blockages and spills. So the climate does have a big impact to that, but that's why we do a lot of work around climate resilience and building resilience of those systems whenever we do capital investments.
Yeah, thanks, John. In fact, you've actually answered another question that's there, and that's really around how much do you think climate change has impacted some of these results, especially with the 3 consecutive years of La Nina, and I think you've answered that beautifully there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you. Another question is around, with engagement currently underway for the next price submission, are you finding that the 6 outcomes are still the customer's priorities? Has there been any change? And I think I can answer that one. It's a really great question, actually. We've actually analysed 4,700 individual comments from our residential, commercial and major customers as part of the engagement for this price submission. And largely, the customer outcomes are the same. So there's good support for the outcomes of local, sustainable, reliable and responsive. They've all had reoccurring themes and support from the people who have responded. Efficient is being rolled into, we're proposing that the efficient outcome is rolled into reliable, and affordable has also evolved into fair prices, and that's what's affordable is not, for some, is not always affordable for others. So we're looking that they're not finalised yet, but that's some of the feedback that we've had from our customers and community around that. So, so largely, at least 4 of those outcomes will stay the same, and two may change. But stay tuned for more on that because that hasn't been finalised yet. I think that might be all for the questions. So if there are no other questions, I'm looking in the Q&A. So it doesn't look like there is. I would like to say thank you. Thank you to everybody who's been involved in this webinar, to Troy Gurr, to John Day, and to Luke Jobson. And thank you to all our people online today watching us, and those that might join us at a later date. If you'd like more information about our customer outcomes, you can again go to our website and find that information. And before we conclude, your feedback is important to us and will help us improve for future community webinars. Can I ask that you take a moment to complete this short survey by grabbing your phone and clicking on that QR code and completing that survey. That'd be really helpful to us so that we can continue to improve. You can stay informed about all things North East Water and all our projects by going to our website and visiting our website and our haveyoursay.northeastwater.com.au website. And if you have any other questions, please just give us a call or send us an email. Don't hesitate to reach out. So thank you everybody for attending today's webinar. We hope you found it informative, and we look forward to seeing you at our future webinars. Have a great afternoon. Thank you.
See you, everyone.